Put that on standby if we need more.
Cheers.
Cheers.
It's an honor.
Oh,
Thank you.
pleasure.
It's interesting now that I just tasted the wormwood, and now I taste the Malort. I feel like I'm becoming like an actual taster of the alcohol now. It changes.
Yeah.
Like as you continue to
develops
breathe.
on your palate.
My palate, yes.
It's complex.
It is.
Evolving.
It is.
Alive.
It is very much alive. Well, Tremaine, it is an absolute pleasure. Just want to say thank you again. I'm here sitting with the CEO, head distiller, and head drinker, as you coined it yourself. Real quick, did you actually have to do a contest to become the head drinker? Because there's got to be some pretty damn good drinkers here, right?
There's some pretty good drinkers, but I've got age. I've got experience. Yeah,
there you
I
go.
Slam dunk that one.
Yeah, and you were a finance guy, and I know finance guys certainly know how to drink, right?
Oh yeah, it was the pre-training for this career.
The pre-training.
Yeah.
Who would have thunk?
Yeah, because I actually basically ended up being an accountant.
Yeah.
Which, if you'd asked me in high school, what I wanted, when I was graduating high school, what do you want to be?
Yep.
I was like, I don't know, but I know I don't want to be an accountant. I literally would say that to people.
Yeah.
And, never say never. So,
my gosh.
Yeah, that career will lead to pretty heavy need for relaxing.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, you never know. I feel like I'm only 30, I feel like it's kind of crazy. Lessons that I've learned or classes that I took or people that I've met, the knowledge comes back to you at strange times in your life.
Yeah.
And I bet that happens to you in a lot of different ways.
Yeah. I mean, I did, numbers, a lot of numbers stuff. I did a little of everything in finance, but so much of it actually translated to running a distillery. It surprised me.
It worked out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I still had a lot to learn, believe me.
Yeah.
And I still have a lot to learn. But
that's right.
Yeah.
Well, you're here today playing such an important role in Chicago and in alcohol culture and food culture too. But I want to know a little bit more about you today. When I say North Beach Brewing Company, what is the first thing that comes to mind?
Good times.
Yes, that's right. North Beach Brewing Company.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
That's funny. Yeah, that goes way back. That's my alcohol roots, the beginning of the dream.
Yes, the OG days.
Yeah.
What year did you and your friends start that?
That was about 92.
92. And you're from Northern California, San Francisco area?
I'm actually from the suburbs of Boston is where I mostly grew up.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I'm a New Englander originally.
Okay.
Then I went out to California to go to college.
Got
and
it.
Stayed after college. And moved to San Francisco, lived there, and that was when the first real craft beer revolution was happening.
Yeah.
So you had Anchor Steam, which had been around for a while, Sierra Nevada, Lagunitas, just getting started, a bunch of cool breweries. And so my buddies and I, actually my brother and I started home brewing.
Nice.
Because our dad had been a home brewer when he was 27 years old, an academic. He got a PhD in physics from Stanford.
Brewing his own alcohol?
Guy,
okay.
But he had 3 kids and no money. So there's a family picture where there's a little plastic dinosaur floating in a garbage can that's got a Croissant head on it.
Oh my gosh.
Dad, were you making beer? And he was like, yeah. So we thought if Pop can do it, then we'll give it a whirl.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So then my buddies and I started North Beach Brewing Company with $5,000 and a dream of making the little kegs and delivering them in the city of San Francisco.
Yeah.
I've told this story many times, but we sold 1 keg to my mom for her book club. And
that was a hell of a book club night.
That was as far as the money. They did kill it. So,
yeah, they did.
Good for them.
You got a little Carl Jeppson in you, going door to door, having that thought, I'm going to sell this alcohol. It's more than making money. There's a purpose behind it, right?
Yeah, it was fun, but we realized that there was no way we could do it without raising money. We had no idea how to raise money, so we just
of course.
All right,
doing it for fun.
Good try.
Yeah.
But the idea stuck in my head. So
I think, sometimes I think about the difference between an entrepreneur and an artist. Entrepreneur, from what I've learned, is people that they grow something and then sell it. But an artist is someone like you who really believes in the idea, and it's more than just selling the company and growing. It's what is the meaning? What is my why? And it's just awesome to be here with you today and hearing that story, that same passion is going down right now. When I walked in the building, you're literally making your own drink. Don't tell them, they're going to see this afterwards, but there's Malort in that drink tonight.
yeah.
And they're not going to even know it, but you just, honestly, you're just spreading good vibes and love, and I really respect that.
Well, thank you. You're ascribing really deep values to me, but
Yeah.
I'm actually just like having a good time and hopefully making people happy.
That's right, absolutely. So when did you make your way to Chicago then?
So about 25 years ago. So my career in finance eventually led me here. I got recruited for a job.
Nice.
And and I was, I was like just ready to leave California, try something new.
Yeah.
And fell in love with Chicago right away. Like,
of course.
It's just it's an amazing, welcoming town. The Midwest values I absolutely love.
Yeah.
It's a hardworking town. It's a real town.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, and so my daughter was born and raised in the city of Chicago.
Okay.
Very proud of that.
Yeah.
Actually, she's even more proud of that than I am.
No way.
Yeah, because I've lived here for 25 years. It's
Yeah.
a little less than half of my life. But she's like, Dad, I'm 100%.
Yeah, that's true. She's pure blood.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So you moved to Chicago. You got out of finance though. What was that like actually for you after being involved in it for so long? Was it tough?
It was kind of natural. I ended up 15 years. I worked here in Chicago, so about 25 years in total.
Oh wow.
In finance, and I liked it. I was good at it, but at some point I was kind of like that. There was an amount of money that I kind of knew that I needed in order to be able to start a brewery or something.
Right.
From the North Beach Brewing days.
$5,000 minimum at least, right?
Yeah, and I kind of looked at my account. I was like, maybe there's enough in there. I think this could be time. So that was kind of like, and it took a couple of years to transition out of the job I had and get this thing off the ground. But
That's awesome.
Once it started, it's been a crazy 10-year ride since.
Seriously, it's probably flying by, isn't it?
It has, yeah.
Gosh, and obviously we're going to get into Malort today, and I'm here at CH Distillery with you where, the sausage gets made, as they say, and there's just something in the air here, and I feel like it's so much more than just making something, right? Like there's an actual mission behind it. And I think a lot of people don't know, CH Distillery owns Jeppson's, Carl Jeppson's bourbon, right? Oh, you guys created bourbon. You bought Malort though first, right?
Yeah, so we started 10 years ago.
Yeah.
With Malort was not part of the picture then for us.
Okay.
We started with CH Vodka as our flagship product.
Yeah.
So we're this weird craft distillery that decided to make vodka our main product.
Okay.
Most craft distilleries are interested in making whiskey.
Yeah.
While it's aging, they're like, yeah, we'll make vodka.
Whiskey's hard to make, isn't it?
Whiskey is really hard to make.
Yeah.
But I've always loved vodka. It's just like my go-to spirit.
Absolutely.
I consider vodka on the rocks to be a cocktail.
Dangerous man.
And vodka gets, understandably, it's underappreciated.
Yeah, because it's so common.
And there's frankly, just a lot of, shitty vodka out there that's cheap and whatever.
Yeah.
They put it in fancy bottles, but it's still shitty vodka. But I wanted to make like a really, really good vodka. So it goes back to my brewing days, like, making stuff from scratch. That's, if I'm cooking in the kitchen, I try to always make everything from scratch because it's just,
love that.
It's more fun. It tastes better, hopefully.
Agreed.
So I wanted to make vodka that way, and that's what CH was started up. That's what we did, and that's what we still do. It's still the CH vodka is our flagship product.
Okay.
It's made from locally grown, organic, Kane County, like 60 miles out of the city.
Nice.
Ryan wheat comes in. We make it from scratch. It's totally different than the other mass-produced vodka.
That's got to be unique, right?
Yeah.
Illinois grain for sure.
Yeah, and Illinois. It's actually the only vodka that is actually handmade from Illinois grain.
No way.
Yeah, because it's expensive and you got to be a little crazy to do it. But, I figured let's be a little different.
You're the guy who jumped out of finance to go and make his own brewing company, so it's not too far from the tree, is it? I love it.
Yeah, and then eventually, once we had the business up and running, but the Malort thing. When we started the business, I had Malort and I liked Malort and I thought it was cool and all that, but I never really looked at the bottle.
Yeah.
I picked up a bottle one day and I was like, made in Florida, what the fuck? Like why is it made in Florida?
Yeah.
And I started, then I found out all the history.
Right.
And that was where the seed was planted. Like, okay, Malort needs to come home.
Yeah, it does. And there's a really interesting story that you have. So Carl Jeppson, right, created it. brought it from Sweden to Chicago, was selling it during the Prohibition, door to door, and then I saw an interview that you had where he basically just couldn't scale it afterwards, right? Because he was just creating it on his own.
Yeah.
So there's so much history behind it that people don't really know about. And then it was handed down to, what's her name? Patricia?
Patricia Gabler.
Patricia.
Yeah.
So you were kind of, well, maybe, you know, trying to buy the product and hounding her a little bit like a salesman.
Yeah.
She didn't want to sell it to you though, did she?
She had a really nice business. So she inherited it from George Brody.
Got it. Who got it from Carl?
Yeah, so she was hired as George's secretary back in 1966.
Okay.
He was a lawyer and a man, he was kind of a Renaissance man. He did a lot of stuff.
Oh.
Including his in-laws had a distillery and were in the liquor business, and he was the one who bought the recipe from Carl Jeppson.
Okay.
After Prohibition, and started the family business making Jeppsons. They used to call it Jeppsons. It wasn't known as Malort. It was known as Jeppsons.
Jeppsons.
Yeah. And so George eventually, his wife passed away, and he and Patricia became very close.
Yeah.
And so when he passed away, he left the company to Pat. And
Got
Pat,
it.
She basically ran it from her apartment on Lakeshore Drive for years
Yeah.
with no employees until Sam came along, and that's a fun story. What happened with Sam? We can come back to that. But
Yeah.
she basically was running it. She could send an email to the people in Florida because there were no distilleries left in Chicago in the 80s, so
Yeah.
they had to move to Florida.
Right.
And she could send an email down there, get a batch made, send it up to the Wirtz family who distributed it.
Oh.
And boom, she's got a business,
Yeah, she probably didn't think she needed you, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so I respected that.
Yeah, for
but
sure.
I kept bugging her.
5 years though you hounded her?
Yeah, it was about 5 years, yeah.
Wow, you're a
Yeah.
better salesman than me. I love that, yeah.
I don't know if I'm a good salesman, but I'm stubborn.
Maybe you were a bad salesman then. You were stubborn. And so how did that eventually happen? Was she retiring or something like that?
So somewhere along the way, this guy, Sam Meckling,
Yeah.
who was a bartender at Patty Long's up in Lakeview,
Patty Long's.
He got drunk one night and created a website or a Facebook page and started selling Malort T-shirts.
Nice.
And so the next day he gets a cease and desist letter from Pat's lawyer saying, no, this is a trade, this is
Yeah.
not trademark, you can't. So he came in for a meeting, and the story goes that he sat down with Pat, her lawyer,
Wow.
and he walked out with a director of marketing job.
Wow.
Yeah.
So then it was only those two running the company.
Yeah, and so Sam did that part-time. So Sam and I worked together on this for years
Yeah.
because Sam wanted it to come home too.
Got it.
So finally, after I kind of gave up, Sam called me and he said, hey, I was talking to Pat and she wants to retire. And I'm paraphrasing here, but basically you have to buy the company from her so she can retire.
Wow.
Yeah.
It worked out then.
Yeah, it's
And you
kinda-
wanted to bring Malort back to Chicago.
Yeah.
And I also saw you told a story about how you bought some inventory that was supposed to last 6 months, and then when the word got out, and when you Google it, a lot of articles come up about how Malort's coming back to Chicago, across all outlets.
Yeah.
And in 3.5 months, you guys sold out, so half the time.
Yeah. So meanwhile, so we were pretty comfortable. All right, we got 6 months to kind of figure out the recipe. 'Cause
Yeah.
We cut, okay.
So they didn't even give you the recipe to reverse engineer it.
They did. They gave us the recipe.
Okay.
They weren't trying to hold anything back from us, but it was just kind of it was like a PDF of a spreadsheet.
Oh, yeah, that's not
I
going
was
to
looking
work.
at it going, all right, well, let's make a test batch. We made it, and we're like, that's not right.
It's not supposed to be that bad.
Yeah, exactly. It was bad in the wrong way.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so we were like, all right, well, we got time. We can reverse engineer this. And
Yeah.
then all of a sudden the clock started ticking way faster. And honestly, our first batch of Malort, I mean, we had the top, I think 25 Malort accounts here in the city. They all came and showed up, and we all tried the first shot of Malort, Chicago made Malort together. And we were all over there at that bar inside here. And everybody did the shot, and they were like, huh. I was like,
no.
And I could see the faces. I said, it's too good, isn't it?
Yeah,
And they're
yeah.
like, yeah. And they were like, fuck it, it's fine though. Let's have another shot. Keep working on it.
Yeah. Needs to be worse. You don't hear that feedback often.
Yeah, right. I know. It's a very strange product.
Oh my gosh.
You have to you have to be very humble about it. And
Yeah.
and just embrace the whole like
So true.
love-hate culture of it.
I tell people this all the time. I think a lot of people sort of scare you with trying it for the first time. Oh, it's really bad, But if you kind of manage expectations, say it's really bitter, it's like biting into a grapefruit peel.
Yeah.
Without revealing too much, can you tell us about sort of what goes into making it, the ingredients? Obviously, I know wormwood, which I just tried. Pure wormwood, people. The most bitter thing I've ever tasted in my life, but I did it.
Yeah. That is like really manning up right there.
Thank you. Yes, all right. I got the stamp of approval.
But yeah, it's a pretty simple traditional thing. So it comes from southern Sweden, and it's not the only, southern Sweden is not the only place it's made, but the particular style that Jeppson's Malort is from farm country in southern Sweden. And I've been there and visited.
You have?
And and it's amazing. Like, it's not a city thing at all. Oh yeah, here it is.
Look at that. Okay, so there is wood here, yeah.
Yeah, it's here.
Here we go.
No.
It's like a chicken wing. Woo!
Oh yeah.
Woo!
That's stout.
No alcohol in this, unfortunately.
That'll but the reason that this is a thing is because that bitter effect, it'll help settle your stomach.
Yes.
If you
that's
had a big
true.
Meal,
Yeah.
It's just sort of a good.
It's a digestive.
It's a digestive, exactly.
Yeah.
And so, and wormwood grows wild in southern Sweden. It's like the perfect kind of latitude for the plant to grow.
Oh.
Everybody's kind of got it in their backyard.
Yeah.
And, for one thing, they got long winters to get through, so they need to drink stuff.
Yeah.
And, back in the day, they were eating a lot of, during the winter, they were eating a lot of like salt preserved fish, right?
Yeah, that makes sense. Can last.
Kind of gnarly.
Because was there refrigeration back then?
If you go, not in like 1840.
No way.
Or 1880 when Carl Jeppson was born.
Yeah.
And so this tradition of taking, high proof alcohol, usually moonshine, and putting like a couple of sprigs of Malort. Malort is the Swedish word for wormwood.
Yes.
Right. So put a couple of sprigs of the Malort plant in there, and now you've got some. And they'll add a lot of other stuff, a little sugar, maybe some other herbs. But the idea is that it's, it makes you feel good, it warms you up.
Yeah.
Then it's also, there's this whole like thing, it's got magical qualities to it.
Nice.
It's, going there and visiting and talking to the local people, we really found out that it's a true cultural, like, it's a real cultural thing in southern Sweden in farming communities.
So much more than the story that we hear.
Yeah, and so that's where Carl Jeppson was born. He was born in Ystad, Sweden, which is right there.
Got it.
And so when he came to Chicago, as a classic, immigrant, he was like, well, this is good stuff. And so he started making it at home. And then he was a smart guy. He was his wife is a school teacher.
Okay.
And he was a cigar maker, actually. That was his.
So
career.
this is true.
Yes.
He smoked a lot of cigars and needed something so bitter so he could taste it.
That's what they say.
I knew it.
Yes. We could, the great thing about the story of Malort is, I don't know, if you like the story, it's true.
Yeah, that's so damn true. And everybody has their own little version of it. I'll ask Chicago bartenders and stuff, and I'll ask the damn CEO, and I'll ask myself, and everybody's got their own little version. I love that.
Yeah, I mean, actually, if you look in the census records, you will see that Carl Jeppson was a cigar maker. Now, I don't know if he was a big smoker or what, but he wasn't. The point is, he wasn't an alcohol guy.
Yeah.
But I think he was an artist and an entrepreneur because he obviously loved this stuff.
Yeah.
But he was savvy enough during Prohibition to figure out that he could get away with selling it because he could call it medicine or a tonic is what they called it back then.
Right.
Curative.
Got it.
And he built a little business. But then by the time Prohibition ended, he knew like the big guys were going to come in and he couldn't compete. So he was smart enough to sell the recipe.
Yep.
Yeah.
Gosh, that is the backstory that we all needed to hear.
Yeah.
And that's what makes me really love it is the story behind it. This is the 90th anniversary this year, right?
It is.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
What's the plan for that? Are you guys going to bring back the original wormwood in the bottle?
We've got a few tricks up our sleeves.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, no
it's
spoilers yet.
It's like when you put the spider or the scorpion in those mezcals or tequila, right? It's like, come on down to Chicago. We got a plant in there.
Yep. Yeah, the original one sold with a sprig of wormwood.
Was it? There we go.
Yeah.
Keep that flavor.
Yeah, so we may or may not be working on that. I actually literally don't know. 'Cause,
Okay, that's fine. Amazing. And the last thing I want to ask you about in regards to Malort is the relationship with Old Style, because everybody goes the Chicago handshake, right?
Yep.
And that's how I was originally introduced to Malort, was with Old Style. So I actually had a friend who was a nice guy and didn't want to torture me with, oh, you're not going to like Malort. He was like, it's actually really good. And ever since then, first time I tried it 8 years ago in Chicago, I've been drinking Malort, and it's just incredible. And you guys obviously support each other's brands in so many ways. And just what's your sort of role in partnering with them, and how much you guys are weaving in and out of the cultures of Chicago?
Yeah, I mean, it's such a great thing, the Chicago handshake. And it was invented not by the brands, but by the people.
Exactly.
Right? You know, and particularly by bartenders. And
Yeah.
So we love that. And Old Style has been a great partner with us. In fact, their brand manager was just here yesterday, and we're trying to cook up more ideas.
There we go.
But we have a really there's a natural affinity between Malort and beer.
Yeah.
Whether it's Old Style or any beer. And there's this thing that happens, like because hops are the bitter component of beer, right? Mm-hmm. And then you've got the bitter of Malort, and you would think that they would sort of like somehow like amplify each other, but the kind of the little bit of maltiness and sweetness of beer like adds this sort of like palliative effect to
it's
the whole
weird
thing.
It's so weird.
Yeah, and it's such a great combination. So and of course I have brewing roots, and a lot of the people who work here are we all love beer.
Yeah.
So we made friends with tons of breweries.
Of course.
So one of the fun things that happens is that we do a barrel-aged Malort every year.
I was hearing about that. I got to try it.
Yeah, we've been doing this for the last 4 or 5 years, and so we take bourbon barrels, put Malort in them, age the Malort in it. It's different, right? I'm not going to claim it's like going to set the world on fire with incredible reviews. It's just Malort with a little bourbon flavor.
Yeah, of course.
The best thing is that now that you have barrels that had Malort in them.
Yep.
So those go out to breweries all over the city, and actually it's starting to go all over the country.
Let's go.
Breweries put beer back in those barrels. Now you have Malort beer barrel aged, Malort aged beer, and then they give us the barrels back, and now we have beer barrel aged Malort. It's crazy. So, yeah, that's kind of the ultimate Chicago handshake.
Truly, that is the ultimate Chicago handshake. Yeah. And so you guys started Jeppson's Bourbon, and the interesting thing that I noticed, well, one, I know you changed the label because the original Jeppson's Bourbon over there. Let's show the people real quick. Oh, I almost broke that. They look very similar, right? So people probably didn't know what the hell they were getting involved in.
Yeah.
And you still have the 3 stars on there. Yeah. But I noticed here we've got 4. And correct me if I'm wrong, sir, but this was 3 stars because it was before the 4-star Chicago flag era.
Exactly.
Is this 4 stars because it's current day when there's 4 stars?
Yeah, nice.
Yes!
Start. Yes.
Big Chicago trivia guy. That's amazing.
Yeah, it was funny because we came out with, we started developing Jeppson's Bourbon. It was an offshoot of CH Bourbon.
Got it.
And we thought, why not, just shamelessly exploit the Jeppson's name?
Why not?
Why not?
Why not?
Some character with the brand.
Yeah.
And so we started the work in 2019 to develop the brand, and then with a target launch date of April 1, 2020.
April Fool's Day 2020. That was a testy time in the world, Ann.
Bizarre timing.
And you didn't even know, you didn't remember it was April Fool's?
Well, we kind of did, and then then all the craziness happened, and we kind of actually forgot it was April Fool's. And when it came out, people are like, "What is this April Fool's?" So in that mentality of any publicity is good publicity, we were like, "Okay, well,
Amen.
This is good." But what we found out is that people kept looking at that label and going, "Shit, is this fucking Malort? I mean, is this bourbon with Malort in it? I don't want to drink that." Like, no,
you're not that psycho, right?
Yeah. So there was a little bit too much Malort on that bourbon, so we had to.
Yeah, I love the new label. I'm a whiskey man too, traditionally, and the Jeppson's Bourbon is very good. So well done.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And we don't make it. That's why it's good.
Oh,
because,
okay.
As we were talking about earlier,
it's hard to brew.
Making whiskey is really hard to make.
Yeah.
And we're good at making vodka and clear spirits and beers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Totally different skill set. I mean, it'd be kind of like trying to, like asking a saxophone player to like play heavy metal guitar. It's
Not
like,
gonna
yeah, you're a
happen.
musician, but
Yeah.
it's not gonna
Oh,
quite
I
get
see
there.
what you're saying there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So instead of making our own bourbon and making people drink our shitty bourbon, we actually buy good bourbon from great distilleries and like say okay and sell it at a good price.
There you
Because
go.
we're like, hey, we're not assholes. We're not gonna mark it up and claim that there's some like our granddad came up with a recipe.
See,
no bullshit.
That's why I really love CH Distillery, because especially with Malort, like people are always like, I don't know why you drink that. And I go, this is literally the best deal in Chicago. Like all the bars my favorite bar in Chicago is called Nights and Weekends. It opened in the last year. You've been there before?
I haven't, but
You're
it
coming
sounds
there
like
with
my
me.
kind of place.
You're coming there with me. It's a great place. They have all different types of alcohol. We got anything from Malort all the way up to Blanton's, right? The cheapest things on the menu are Old Style and Malort.
Right.
And I'm spending, my friends are spending $100, $150, and I'm getting out of there with like $40, $50. And I'm like, yeah, that's right, motherfuckers. I like this shit.
Yep.
And I'm saving money.
Yeah, Malort is it's
Fair
a good-
price.
It's a value play.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've had plenty of nights where because I'm a little, if I go to a bar, I try to drink our stuff.
Yeah, of course.
And so if they don't have, and like it's a small business, so we
Yeah.
support ourselves.
Right.
So if they don't have like CH vodka or Jeppson's bourbon or whatever, I'm like, do you have Malort? Pretty much everybody has Malort. So I've spent
There you go.
plenty of evenings, just like sipping Malort, just to, so I'm not just like doing 8 shots. Trying to make 3 shots last the night. Yeah, and it's not a bad way to go. You don't feel bad the next day.
It's true.
Malort won't hurt you.
Well, and I think a lot of people glance over the fact that it's a liqueur, so that means it has sugar in it, right?
It does. And what's interesting about Malort is that you're exactly right.
Yeah.
Liqueur means sugar.
Right.
It actually technically means it has to have at least 2.5% sugar by weight. It has
Oh,
to.
okay.
That's a minimum.
Got it.
That's right about where Malort stands.
Got
It's got the minimal amount of sugar. So compared to like a lot of other shots that are out there,
Yeah.
whether it's out of the bottle or a concoction, it's
Definitely.
like totally low sugar. And as we all know, it's
Yeah.
not. It's the sugar is what makes you feel like shit the next
Yep.
day more than anything.
More than anything. I know people are drinking margaritas and all these other types of drinks, and I'm like, you're me hungover as shit.
It tastes
And
great
listen,
going down, but-
we're getting older, but we get hungover as shit, but we still like to drink, so that means I'm going to do whatever I have to do to not be hungover and still drink.
Yeah, I could probably sell Malort to like retirement communities.
Yeah, you definitely could. You should. Now
Right.
that's an idea right there. Well, sir, it has been such a pleasure talking to you.
Likewise.
Thank you so much. And on behalf of Chicago, true Chicagoans, I might say, we appreciate what you're doing.
Oh, it was our pleasure. Thank you.
We love it.